I'm good.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the OK Run Show. After about a month or 6 week hiatus here,
Yeah, more or less.
we are back to business. Shawn, what have you been up to over the little break here?
Well, I work at Josh's Snow Shack here in Tulsa. There's also one in Stillwater if you're from there. So I'll do that. I'm not working too much there because I just don't want to, but most of my friends are in town. My childhood best friends are all in Tulsa for the most part, so that's been really nice. Just kind of hanging out with them. A lot of pool days. Just a lot of fun. What about you, Colin? What you been got going?
Um,
What you going on?
so I'm currently in Flagstaff, Arizona, hence the strange backdrop of the Flagstaff Public Library. I'm an intern in the weight room, working with athletes. I mean, it's
W
kind
Rig right there, baby.
Yeah, so I'm out here grinding, getting paid absolutely nothing. But hey,
Um,
we're living. I live in my 2003 Chevy Suburban. It's kind of nice, it's spacious. Um,
mhm.
I basically live off of their like nutrition station food. Just living the life, honestly. On the weekends I get free time and I go cool places and do things, but yeah, that's what I'm up to.
So
So
what's been the best hike you've gone on up in
best
Flagstaff?
best hike I've gone on. Oh, I've done a lot. I did Grand Canyon. I did part of Grand Canyon. I didn't do all of it. Um, that's always cool, of course, going down into the canyon. Sedona, a couple different trails I went on in Sedona were nice. Devil's Bridge is probably the best one in Sedona that I've done. I climbed up to the top of Eldon, which is
Ooh.
the mountain right next to Flagstaff.
Hmm.
So like gain about 2,000 feet in the span of like 5 miles.
Wow,
That's real fun.
that's
I
gnarly.
still I still have to do Humphreys. That's something I have to do before I leave. Mount Humphreys is the highest point in Arizona. It's 12,000 feet, and it's a
Light work, baby.
20-minute drive out from
Yeah.
here. I actually biked to the base camp of it, which was a nice little 30-mile round trip.
Woo.
Half of it straight up a hill. It fucking sucked. Excuse my language. I did,
We'll have to cut that one out there,
we'll,
Chief.
we'll leave it. Um, we'll leave it. No one will hear it. Anyway, all right. So let's see here. On that bombshell, let's move on. So we're just laughing about that.
That'll do it.
Um, so Shawn, couple interesting performances has happened.
Hmm.
Uh, Woodcock ran how fast?
Oh, I think it was 408.0 something. So, I mean,
408.
again, though, it's kind of one of those things where it won't count towards the state record, but it's still impressive
It's
nonetheless and
yeah.
incredible time.
Where do you think the cutoff should be like for a state record? Like, is it has to be done by the state meet? Is it a like has to be before your graduation? When do you think it like should still count? Is it like before you're at
I
college? Could you
honestly
have the whole
think
summer?
there should be I don't know what the official cutoff is, but I think graduation isn't fair because some schools graduate in different weeks. I'm under the impression that it should just be if you don't do it by meet of champions or state meet, then it doesn't count
It
because
has
that
to
just
be
keeps it
so
simple.
basically by meet of champions.
Yeah, because it just keeps it simple.
Mm-hmm.
And because I mean, look, like you had Keegan Thomas run like 408, 407. That should have counted, but it
Mm-hmm.
didn't. Brody Woodcock, same thing. I think if to just do it, you should just keep it simple. If you don't do it by the state meet, because nowadays, especially the state meets more or less. We'll say meet a
Yeah.
champ. We'll say
Yeah,
meet a
meet of
champ.
champions has died off quite a bit the last few years.
But
It's
meet of champions is the same day and it's always after the state meets for
right.
whatever class. So that gives every kid equal opportunity
Right.
to set the state record. So that's what I'd say.
Moving on here, we got Bella Nelson ran 4:53. I believe that was at Festival of Miles. I can't remember.
But
But
not last
then
summer.
She did it again this summer. She
Oh,
PB'd.
really?
I just came across that
Okay.
as I was
Yeah.
flipping through her Instagram. Other news, Joshua Ramage flipped his commitment from Moso to Arkansas. Get kind of old news at this point. Been a couple weeks since he did that. What else has happened? Emily Cloutier signed to Arkansas as well.
Yeah.
So pole vault state record holder was unsigned all the way up until I believe a couple days ago,
Hmm.
and she just recently signed to pole vault there. Someone who kind of had a little bit of a later start to her, track career. Really didn't start competing until her junior year. Obviously took off, jumped the state record this year. I mean, her progression's probably gonna be insane. Like she's gonna be one of those people that their freshman year just goes up. And I mean, the access to the facility there, she's literally able to vault year round. Like it could be a foot of snow on the ground. She can go in the facility. She can be vaulting. She'll
Hmm.
be obviously world class staff there to coach her. Like I could see her
It'll be awesome to
really
see.
making a big jump in the pole vault
Hmm.
at the University of Arkansas. So good on her to kind of bet on herself, not sign anywhere like in the
Yeah.
fall or something. Maybe not get quite as good of a school, but hey, not a bad situation to get yourself into. Um, a freshman at the
Hmm.
5K. That's something we have to talk about. Let me pull up his name so I don't get this wrong. I know I just put him in
Yeah.
the rankings because when you run 15:41 on the track, I get it's a track 5K. It's gonna be a little quicker than you're gonna run, but
Yeah.
15:41 in June, Dominic
Matthias.
Matthias,
I think so. Yeah.
yeah, I believe that's how you say it.
Probably.
15:41 on the track as a 14-year-old. As a 14-year-old,
Yeah, that's crazy.
kid's gonna be good. I mean, if he sticks with it, I hear through the grapevine of the more running circles, he's a talent. He's a freak.
Hmm.
But he's not the only freshman that I'm excited to see
Oh,
how
there's
they
that
play out.
other kid. Yeah.
Ethan Brooks, who's going to be with Mustang. We
Mhm.
know how good Mustang is. He's going to have some great guys to train with. Where Matthias, I don't know who he's going to train with it more. Like, I don't know if he maybe is privately coached somewhere else, runs with a group. I don't really
Yeah.
know. But I do know Brooks has been working with Be Bold Running.
Hmm.
Brooks ran did he break 440 at Mile
Thought it
Night?
was like 445 ish,
I know he
448.
had run 444, I believe, heading into Mile Night, and I
Hmm.
cannot recall if he like slipped under 440
I
or
don't
if he was
think
right
he
about
did.
the same. Because I
I
know
think
they
he was
let him
about
into a
the
high
same.
school heat, and that's
Mhm.
obviously big time because your eighth grade meets. You're not gonna
Yeah.
get many other guys that can do that. But two freshmen that I have already in my top 15, I think could very easily do it. There was
It's
especially in
always
6A
cool
boys.
to see a freshman in 6A put
Yeah,
some put their self in a
right.
top 15, top 10
Because like
ranking.
this
Because
past year we had Micah John. Micah John
hmm
got in there.
hmm
Obviously in the past we've had guys like Gabe when he was a freshman was
yeah.
a I think top 10 guy
Hmm.
as a true freshman. I think it's going to be interesting to see those two. I'd say kind of the rule of thumb conversion from a track 5K to a cross country is just an average cross country course, about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
That's still 16:10. That's
Yeah,
blistering,
that's still very,
you
very
know?
fast. And that's
Very, very
that's
fast.
not gonna like that time usually won't win you state
No,
anymore. But that if it's slower,
I
that
don't
can
think he's gonna win state, but I do think he could
could you
easily be a
imagine?
top 10 guy. No,
That'd be wild.
I don't think he can beat Noah.
I
Noah
also
Thayer's really
know
good.
that
Mesbarth's
the
really
index
good.
that day was like 105.
It was hot. It was hot. I
So
mean,
that's
shout
especially for a
out to
5K.
running that fast.
Yeah.
Um, Also got to give a shout out to Dugan for running 17:40
Hmm.
track 5K. Obviously, great time for June. Don't know, if she's just obviously she's probably not in her full fitness. So we'll be exciting to see her. She's the number two returner behind Bella Nelson.
Yeah.
Maybe she could knock her off. I don't know. I mean, every time we bet against Bella Nelson proves us wrong. So
Yeah.
I'm just not gonna do that from the gun. I'm just gonna, all my chips are in the Bella Nelson wins it this year. Um, but yeah, so some interesting happenings over the past few weeks while we've been away. But
Hmm.
Shawn, let's move into some of your predictions because people have been kind of seeing mine. We posted the story question. They asked
Hmm.
questions. I answered it. you know, let's see. Shawn hasn't been answering them. Let's see some of his takes on some of this. So I'm gonna read you a couple of them as I pull
Sounds
them up
good,
here.
man.
6A girls state team prediction. Do
Owasso.
you Owasso taking Owasso? I believe they only lost like one girl out of their top seven.
Well, I'm I thought this is fine to say now. Union's one of their better distance athletes, Ava Cornelius, is at Owasso now.
Is she at Owasso? So it is. So
And
this
I
is
know that
confirmation,
nowadays there's no like weird transfer rule where you
right?
can't start on varsity. That's all gone. So it doesn't matter anymore. So she's going to be on their varsity team. I mean,
I think that
Owasso
locks it up.
has a lot of good athletes, but she'll
I think
train
they only
behind.
graduated if I remember correctly. They're like number six.
So they're
So
gonna be very tough to beat, but who knows what will happen. It's a long season. We're a long ways away. So,
all right, this one's specifically addressed to you.
oh boy. All
Question
right.
for Shawn: how's Union gonna do in XC and track next year?
Well, I know.
Start with XC. Start with the fall.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll touch on track yet, just because we're focused on cross country right now, and
So
track's
just
just
say they're winning. They're going back to
okay.
back.
Yeah,
They're going back to
whatever.
back.
But well, I know the boys lost a lot of guys, but they got a couple younger athletes who I know have put together good track seasons and are training this summer. And so, I think a lot of getting better is the individual work you put in the summer. And if you can get a group of guys or a group of girls to put in, good work in the summertime, you'll have a decent team. But I haven't been around the Union team since state, so I really don't know. My sister is competing this fall. I know the Union girls don't have a lot of athletes, so we'll see if they even have a team. But um, I have high hopes. I hope that their season goes well. Boom.
Brody versus Gabe, both in their high school primes. Who are you taking in a 1600 meter?
Uh, Fry Brody Woodcock. I think a better fight would be 5K or 2 mile. I think Brody Woodcock in the mile, outside of maybe Keegan Thomas, is the best miler we've ever seen.
Hard to argue with a 408. It's
And you
hard to
could put,
argue.
I think that's not a bad comparison, but a better comparison would be Keegan versus Brody, their senior years at like meet of champions, like mile night, who wins. But in a 2 mile and 5K, I think that would be a much better race. And I would take Gabe.
Who are some of your individuals you're really excited to see race this year? Kind of some of the top individuals in your
Um,
brain.
I'm really excited to see who out of Deer Creek steps up the most because that's always something that happens every year. And I'm sure it's a big change this year because they've lost a good amount of athletes, but they're going to be consistent. They're going to be good. They're going to put in good training. And so anybody out of that team, um, I think Bella Nelson will be interesting to watch because there's a chance that she breaks the state record in the 5K or whatever that is, or like runs
Yeah.
like six something. Because I know that
Yeah.
that might happen track,
I don't
but like
think
maybe
we've had a sub 17 female.
not. Wait,
I don't think we've ever had a sub 17 female. And now, granted, crosses vary.
hold on. I
The
think we
courses
might have.
vary so much.
Yeah,
We've probably had a sub 17,
we've had it on the track.
maybe on the track.
Had it
Yeah.
on the track.
Because
I
I,
know Peyton Hinkle and Caden
mhm,
Dawson ran sub
right.
seven track,
But
but I know about on the course.
course, I don't think so because, granted, it's really hard because courses vary and you can get in a, like throw Peyton Hinkle on a 3 mile cross country course.
Exactly.
Yeah, she probably breaks 17
Hold on.
in
I
a
really want
5K
to
or
see
whatever.
if it's happened or not. I'm going on a little tangent here, but
Go on the little tangent. Go look it up. But I don't think, to my knowledge, it would have been within the last 10 years. I mean, the earliest would probably be like Cheyenne Walden
That's what I'm
from
thinking
Sand Springs would
too.
be maybe the earliest possible. Before her, Reagan Ward, maybe, but I still don't think I don't even know if Reagan Ward was a sub 18. Um,
Yeah, man.
I don't
I
think it's ever happened. I just don't.
I
I
don't think
like
it has.
it would have been it would have either been Pinkle or Caden Dawson. So
I don't know if I there was that Alabama meet when they canceled NXN
running lane,
that if it happened,
ooh,
it would have happened
it
there.
would have if like Caden Dawson went there.
Because
She
I
because that course
remember
is fast. That course is fast.
let me
I
check
have
out.
run on that course for an
Yeah.
8K. I did run it one time in college, had a terrible performance. But it is a fast course. So the
Because
course
it
was
would
not the
be
reason I sucked
interesting
that
because I
day.
think Bella Nelson actually has a chance at that.
I think so too. I mean, she ran 17:30 last year. I think, yeah, obviously she gets a good course for it, or she goes to something like that. I could see her going under. I mean, she's
Okay,
certainly capable of it on the track.
I have official word. I went on some results.
Okay.
Running lane cross country championships in Huntsville, Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Hayden Dawson ran 16:53.
So she okay, so it has happened at running lane.
Unless Cheyenne Walden did
I
that,
don't
but
think so.
I
Because
don't
I
know.
mean, again, it just wasn't as common for athletes to go to something like that.
Yeah.
It's only the last few years have we really had Oklahomans traveling. We've only had one, to my knowledge, one man, so one boy, make it to
Mhm.
NXN.
Who was that?
Um, Ben Barrett.
Oh, yeah.
Ben Barrett, who was the first sub 9 minute 3,200 meter runner in the state.
Hmm. Yep.
So I think, to my knowledge, he's the only one that's done it. I think Cheyenne Walden also made NXN. Cheyenne Walden made NXN.
Hmm.
Did Hinkle or well no, because it would have got canceled their senior year.
No, I mean we've had very few, and even team wise, I mean I know
Team we've
Deer Creek got
never. I don't think
close. I
team we've
know
ever.
those early Jinx teams got very close.
Yeah, the early Jinx boy, or not early, but I mean like 10 years ago, Jinx boys.
Yeah, like a
I
long
mean
time ago, but it was even farther
early.
than that. It was
Yeah,
like I know that those like 2010, 2011, 2012 era, they like went down to Texas and beat one of the best schools in the country. Then at
right.
NXN, I mean, well, NXR just didn't do well.
Yeah, so I mean, I would love to see a team. I don't think. Ooh, Mustang's very good this year.
They are.
Mustang returned, I think everybody but Carson Patton,
Yeah, it's just tough
and
because I
it's
think
still
that
tough. It's still like they
it
could
will
be
happen eventually,
again,
but I don't know if it's going to be in the next
again,
couple of years.
Deer Creek, arguably outside of some of those Jinx teams, you could say probably the greatest team ever assembled,
Yeah,
and they didn't make it.
yeah.
It's that hard. Like they had the caliber of talent,
Hmm.
but on the day they didn't make it. And I don't know. I mean, again, we have another decent shot. Decent. I want to say
Hmm.
decent shot. Still it's gonna be hard, but I think Mustang could
I would
be
agree.
could be similar. I mean, we'll see what kind of summer those guys put in. And maybe they come out and then we're sitting here as they go through the season. We're like, man, Deer Creek last year, Mustang this year,
Hmm.
you know, we may be
Hmm.
having the argument that Mustang's the greatest team ever after this year. I don't know.
Yeah.
Women's side, Owasso, if they for sure add Ava, I think because they only lost like their number six,
Hmm.
could they maybe put themselves in contention to qualify? Again, still a very tough thing, and we
Yeah.
don't really have a gauge. They didn't go down there this past year, to my knowledge, and try to qualify. So I don't know,
We'll
So
see.
I think it'd be interesting. We obviously are rooting for someone to make it to
Hmm.
NXN out of Oklahoma because that gives us so much more content.
Exactly.
Um, but it's still a tough hill to climb, and we're yet to see it happen. So maybe in the next few years. I think it'll happen within the next. I'll say within the next 5 years, we get
We're
a
in a
team.
very, very good track. People are just getting faster, and it's
Yeah,
becoming a bigger deal in our state.
for sure.
And
I think the culture's growing, And I think that
That's what
helps
it
it
takes
tremendously.
to get to that point. So,
That helps it tremendously.
who else am I mean, there's a lot. It's just very deep nowadays, I feel like. So there's a lot of athletes I'm excited to watch. And what I love about cross is that there's always a couple athletes that come out of nowhere you've never heard of.
Yeah.
Because cross country is just you put in so much work over the summer. It's different than track, at least from like a distance standpoint, because in track, you kind of go into track knowing more or
Yeah,
less
for sure. For sure. You kind of
like,
know, like,
okay, there's still some
whoever,
surprises, but it's been like 3 months since the kids last raced.
yeah.
They're stepping down in distance, but but for cross, you get a whole summer. That's a lot of time to
Yeah.
develop.
And some, and as we know with high schoolers,
Hmm.
some high schoolers take the summer seriously. Some
Hmm.
don't do anything all
Yep.
summer. So a kid who may have had a great track season took
Hmm.
the summer off, and now they're going to be fighting to get back into form by state. Or you may
Some,
get a kid who was eighth place at the 3,200, and we're not really thinking about him. And then he puts in a great summer, maybe hadn't trained in summers previously,
hmm.
and all of a sudden he's a top three guy. You never know.
Yeah,
Like
never know.
it happens every year.
And I mean, so much can happen within a cross country race that it can be a mess. Like you
5K is a
can,
long way.
well, like at state, and that's what I enjoy so much about cross country state is that anything can happen. Anybody can really win. Well, not anybody, but like there's many, many years that I've been around the sport where you could have picked five, six, seven people that any of them could have won.
Yeah, and I
You know.
think this year, I mean, Noah Thayer's the top returner.
Hmm.
Mez Barth, Cam Langdon, both looked really good at state in the 32.
Hmm.
Like, you're almost like, yeah, I want to root for Noah Thayer. He's the top returner on paper, should be. But man, those guys look good. What could a summer of training happen? A lot can happen between now
And
and
I
late
believe
October.
Noah Thayer's gonna be a junior.
He will be a junior.
Which that's also something to note because a lot of times athletes take that leap.
Mm-hmm.
The good ones do. The good athletes who care, who train hard, usually their junior year is that time where like that jump happens.
Yeah.
So maybe we see him run something crazy on like a course that's official. Maybe he runs 15 low.
Who knows?
Would be
I think
cool
it'll
to
be
see.
fun. I'm certainly looking forward to it.
Time as well.
Also, potentially, what I've heard through the grapevine, the private schools are all bumping back to what they were in 2022.
So Bishop
Not
Kelly's.
maybe not everybody, maybe not everybody.
Mhm.
Because I texted my high school coach, who's the president of the Track Coaches Association. I said, "Hey, is this true? Are they all bumping?" She said, "A lot of them, but some won't move." Again, it's based off that success rule. Like if you have so many
Mhm.
years of success, but for the most part, most of the schools are bumping back to their 2022.
Mhm.
With that being said, that means that 4A now has Lincoln Christian back.
Yeah.
Regent Prep bumps back to 3A.
Mhm.
You know, you were saying something about Bishop Kelly. Have you heard something?
No, I was just because they
Okay,
got bumped to 6A. That's a pretty significant.
right.
Uh,
In
jump.
6A, I don't know if they finish top three on men's or women's, but I think in 5A, they're a top two team, both squads.
Mhm.
And I think, obviously that makes a big difference. Lincoln Christian getting bumped back. I think they pretty well handle 4A as a
Mhm.
team. Um, Now Cash might have something to say about it,
Lord have
as,
mercy.
as they always have something to say about it. Um,
Lord have mercy.
and like I was saying stuff about like 4A individuals, and I was like, well, Clay McKinney's your defending state champ.
Mm.
Obviously in track he was class A, so he can go cruise to a state title and whatever and run 10 minutes. But go up to 4A for cross country. Now you got Zach Williams, who obviously ran 9:23. You'll have like Dathan Custer, who ran like 9:30. You
Mm.
have quite a few guys in the mix there. But if Lincoln bumps back, Regent bumps back. So now you have the Regent boys, who they had two really good freshmen, Sammy Ferris, Ty Brooks. What are they like as sophomores? Maybe I mean, they both neither one of them look like just a man child. Like, oh, that kid's
Yeah.
just one of the early bloomers. Like they both
Hmm.
look like kids. They still look like freshmen.
Yeah.
So what if they hit their growth spurt and they're just crazy their sophomore year?
We'll
Then
see
all
what
of a
happens.
sudden, who knows? Like there's some interesting happenings in every division.
Hmm.
Class A is now a thing. Used to only go to 2A. Now they're splitting it to Class A. So
Uh,
Class A, I did the numbers. 2A last year had 260 teams. Of those, only like 50 of them fielded 7 people at the regional meet. Only like
that'll do it.
50 schools.
No.
So what they've done is they've split it basically in half. Your top 100, I believe, will remain in 2A, roughly. I mean, not exactly 100. And then your bottom 150-ish schools are going to be A, but they're going to have a different scoring system. So they're going to score less people. So they're
Hmm.
only going to score through 4 instead of 5, and you can run up to 6 instead of 7. So again, gets a little more opportunity for some different schools to kind of make a name for themselves, to have a little taste of success, which then helps grow our sport. Because anytime you give a high school kid like a chance to like win something, like I remember when I was in high school, we got cross country my freshman year, and then we started having a little bit of success finishing third. And then out of my school, we started, having a lot more success winning some state titles, but we sent kids to college to run, and it became a little more of a culture for us there for a few years, and they're slowly getting back to it. But hey, we're growing the sport in all the corners of the state if we add this Class A. I think that's the one benefit to it. And I know, like, for the most part, people would be like, all right, we added another class, but kind of interesting. Gives some other
It is.
athletes an opportunity. And I think based off of small school state, when I was there walking around, people were excited for the sport. They were really excited about mile split. And that group of
That's what we
humans,
are here for.
the group of just people there, just the fans, the parents, all that stuff, they were even less knowledgeable that mile split existed. They didn't know what it was. That was the first time they had heard of it. Some of the
Hmm.
athletes are like, "What's mile split?" You go to 5A, 6A state, more people know of it, have
Yeah.
heard of it because the culture is a little more there. It's been
Hmm.
thriving a few years in 5 and 6A. But I think more than ever in 4A and below, you're starting to get some actual running culture starting and some actual teams that are training more year round rather than just during the season calendar. So exciting little tangent. And other news
Yes,
to
sir.
cover. I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, well, so we're planning the meets that we're gonna go to this fall, and that's still in the works, but I know Deer Creek is something that we're gonna be at. That's usually the most premier, like beginning of season, be there. Um Fast PRs are set. So Colin and I are planning on being there. Rogers State after dark meet is gonna be pretty cool. We will be there as well. I know that we're going to the Jamboree most likely because Colin and I go to OSU, so it's
we
easy
live
for us to
there.
pop on over there. Yes, sir. So then regional state, obviously, we'll be there all day at state. Chili Pepper, we're still getting some thoughts on and Joplin, but make sure we will be around at one of your meets at least, most likely.
most
So if
most
we're
people
there,
will be there. I mean, if you make it to
yeah,
state, we'll at least be at one of your
yeah.
meets.
Make sure to stop by, you say hi to us, hang out. Like that's what we're there for as well. I know we're gonna get a booth of sorts too, and that'll be really good. So we'll have a table out, tent, come say hi, come hang out. I'm gonna bring some cornhole or something, just and then the whole purpose of that is to help the community, help people at meets, just meet each other and have fun and give a place to learn more about mile split.
Can
So
we can we get Matthew Minton at Jamboree?
Matthew Minton is in some of the best shape of his entire life,
Can
actually.
we can we get him? How's his cornhole shape? Is he in good cornhole shape?
I want to see Matthew Minton in the because you can enter
Yeah.
in that race. I want to see him do that. He's in the best shape of his life. Like this guy's getting after it. Um
Hey, he ran like 1350 as a 14-year-old, so let's not forget.
Yeah, before he broke his leg and tore his Achilles, the guy was a phenom, but no one ever knows about it because he did it all in like Canada.
Yeah.
So,
They don't have cameras and timing equipment in Canada. It's all off stopwatches.
but I saw it, you
Yeah, for
know.
sure. Saw it with his own
Um,
two eyes.
and that just horrible injury just derailed him, and he was able to still put together a good career, but first to the gate,
Yeah, that
baby.
was from that was from bull riding, correct?
Yeah, dude, that that was his. Yeah,
Also a
that's a
junior world champion bull rider. The legend of Matthew Minton keeps growing.
that's a piece of Oklahoma running lore that the kids nowadays don't know. They don't even know about Dort anymore, as much at least.
Yeah.
So the lore goes deep. Himbago,
Darajay, yeah, the Darajay days.
hmm
Who
goes
else?
deep,
Daniel
man.
Nichols celebrating at state was a. I feel like every year someone celebrates at state, and that's a, somehow a controversy.
Yeah. Did you hear about that guy that ran for OSU that's now on like shows on
Shea Foster.
Netflix? Yeah.
Yeah, dude, we were so when I was still running like with the team there, they were talking about it and they're like, dude, it's so funny. Now I just recently saw that he's trying out for the Paralympics.
He's doing those videos with a new
Yeah,
generation
okay,
track, you
yeah,
know?
he's trying out for the Paralympics because of some coordination disability that he has. That
I
on
know
paper
he got in that really bad car accident.
he got into something, yeah. But he's
And I know that like he wasn't supposed to run again, but then he like came back and found a way, which is
yeah,
cool. Yeah, I was surprised by that too, but I mean, I
yeah,
guess
there's
that's fine, you know?
well, what a guy. I hear he
Yeah.
is a guy. He's something. Um, but
We
yeah, I think that'll be
yeah.
more Oklahoma running news.
Yeah.
More
The lore goes deep.
loosely Oklahoma running news. He only ran here for a year, I think.
Do
Only
you
at OSU for
think
a year.
the OSU men win the championship again?
Yes,
Because they're
yes.
only losing Mayor.
Mayor's I think the only one. And dude, they were so deep. Like, yeah, I don't think people realize
He
like
didn't even score
how
at the
he was
championship,
fifth. He
right?
was fifth.
Okay,
He
okay.
was fifth. But Adisu, who I think was their number six, I mean, he made 10K nationals. Like that was their number. They'll be fine.
Hmm.
They'll be fine. Dennis and Brian obviously are coming back. No, Vic's gone as well. I think. I
Yeah.
mean, Vic's been around for so long. I think he's gone. But like Will Muirhead's good. I
Hmm.
saw Jonas Price hit the portal, which makes me sad because he's one of the nicest human beings ever. And that guy went through a lot of like challenges in his time, and this year was the first year it started clicking for him. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, this was the best year they've had. So like, I don't even know if he ran nationals.
Hmm.
Plus they have Shoppy redshirted last year, didn't
He's back.
run. He'll be. I mean, he still has eligibility. He'll be back.
He's a 453 miler.
He's a what? A,
453,
a
right?
453. I
What
hope
did I
he can run
thought?
a 453.
No, sorry, 353.
I hope he can.
Yeah, that'd be
Yeah,
embarrassing.
he's a 353 miler. He's very good in the 3K. He's run 1340 in the 5K, I think.
Hmm.
Maybe 1330s now. Um, should be able to run
Yeah,
1330s.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean they'll be good. Fuad's back. Should be back. Um, yeah, they'll be good. Jacob Deacon was a freshman this past year. That kid's gonna be very good. Training with former Oklahoma high school runner Ethan Stovall right now in Colorado. They're at the Stovall Fish Camp. Shout out to Brent Stovall, who I think watches these or did watch
Brent
them.
Stovall
But
is my homie.
Brent Stovall is now having the altitude camp up there, the Stovall altitude camp, creating possibly the next Oklahoma State national title. Aiden Granados was a very good freshman this past year. I think he broke 14. He ran like 3:43. Kean
Mhm.
Davis, sub 4 miler. That they're loaded, dude. They're gonna figure it out. They'll always figure it out. Dave Smith has a way of just getting guys motivated. I don't
Mhm.
think that the secret to Oklahoma State, I'm gonna tell everybody this, at least from what I gathered in my one semester of being very terrible running with them, having the worst season of my life. But the one thing that is the superpower of Dave Smith and the Oklahoma State program is he gets guys to believe.
Yep.
And that's the biggest thing. And I will tell high school kids, whether you have the greatest coach when it comes to programming and all the science of running, whether you have that or not, if you just believe in what you're doing, it will
Hmm.
work and you will do some crazy things. I know Shawn could probably attest to this. I'm pretty sure Shawn will agree that he did not do the greatest training in high school, right? Like, didn't have great
It's
training in high
fine.
school. Yeah.
It's fine.
But like, you probably outran some of your training by just believing you were fit and could race guys, you know?
Exactly.
Like, I did the same thing in high school. I didn't have great training, but I just believed in my coach and I'd run through a brick wall
Hmm.
and we did good things. I ran 15:31 or whatever my senior year. And like, hey, like, I think that's the number one thing you need is buy-in. And if you
Hmm.
can just create that, I think, again, what's Deer Creek's superpower? I don't necessarily think their training is probably that special. I think if you were to actually break it down, write it down on paper, you'd look at it and go, well, this is nothing just groundbreaking.
Yeah.
But what it is they have a culture and a great buy-in of their guys, and the guys believe what they're doing is going to
Hmm.
equal state titles. And what has it
Hmm.
done? It's equaled state titles. I
And they
think that's
believe day in
they
and day
believe in
out.
it. They
It's not
believe in
just
it.
the
Yeah.
outcome that matters, it's the process. That's like their little
The
quote thing.
process, not, yeah.
Hey, it's like,
My college coach said that all the time, was it's not
yeah,
process,
but
it's
it's
out,
like,
or it's not outcome, it's the process. But
you
yeah.
have to believe in what you're doing every
Oh,
single day.
for sure. You
And
will
then
run
once
immensely better.
eventually, yeah.
And that's kind of maybe my one issue with the private coaching stuff, is that sometimes that creates, especially as you get into season, you have basically two different coaches telling you what to do. It
Hmm.
it forms a little like doubt in your mind. Is like, hey, you're having to do your high school's training program for your high school coach, but then you have your private coach saying, oh, you guys are doing everything wrong. And then all of a sudden you are like, well, I don't know what I'm doing here. And then you end up
Yeah.
running poorly because you get in your own head about it. Just believe what you're doing is working and just go
Mhm.
out there and kick butt. I used up
Where-
my one cuss word quota of the pod
Yeah,
already.
sorry.
Anyway, sorry to people who don't like that. That's how people talk. I'm sorry. Um, anyway, I think that's it. Shawn, you got anything else? You got anything you want to leave? Any words of wisdom? We kind of
I mean,
got into our little rant session at the end, but
I think we've left us in a good spot. We're gonna get a pod again this summer. It's not the last you're gonna hear, especially in like the later months, well, like later this month, because we will be gearing up for
mhm.
August, which is essentially, I mean, Colin and I will be back in school. We'll be
Yep.
moving back in, but
When are you
that's
getting
like
back to Stillwater?
August 12th.
Okay. So probably
Maybe
around
earlier
August.
if I can like get my apartment to like
Yeah.
allow me to move in earlier, because I know my buddy is, but um ideal there, and then cross will start right about when school starts. So,
Yeah, because I think the first meets are like middle of August. Mid to late August is the first meets. So I think pretty much from around maybe the second week of August, expect weekly
mhm.
podcasts. Till then, we'll just catch you when we catch you. Yeah.
Hmm.
All
Yeah,
right.
well, the weekly it'll be very similar to track, but it'll just be very focused because track is all those events, all those athletes, cross country is very much like the 5K.
It's
So
easy.
it's easy. We'll be very focused. We'll have podcasts every week. But it'll be very similar to the content we had in track. So there we go.
There we go. We'll see you guys whenever we see you.
Been real.